Hey all, how you doing? Ryan Kentowski, gunsmith from American Arms Engineering. Welcome to another edition of Down on Range 3. Firearm came in from a customer. This happens to be a 30-06 P1917. Sporterized throughout the years, obviously war surplus firearm. Did a very nice re-blue job, did some machining work top end. Newer mounts, most likely as far as the way they're looking, 50s vintage. Newer sporterized stock. And muzzle brake. What our major complaint is, firearms not grouping properly. We're shooting wider than should be expected. So basically, before we do anything else to the gun, what we're going to do, we're going to try and print her with a couple of different weights of ammo. We're going to start out with a Remington core lock in, as far as both grain weights. One's going to be 150 grain, 180. We're going to see what's going to group tighter. Once we find what's grouping tighter, then we're going to make any adaptations to the rifle to see if we can get that particular bullet weight to shoot better with it. So we're going to take it out, shoot, and see how she does. Okay. Basically just brought her in off the range, got her up on the bench. Again, a little bit more detail on this. This is a P1917. This is in 30-06. Unknown barrel origin. She does have a muzzle brake installed on her. As you can tell, we've got an old school, very reliable 3-9 Redfield on there, again, with very sturdy, old school Williams mounting setup on there. We're going to come over here. We're going to take a look. This was just with standard Remington, 150 grain. She put out an 1.25 inch group at 100 yards. Very respectable for a gun of this age, this vintage, especially being of surplus. We're going to come pan over here. Come down here. Now with the 180s, the heavier bullets, she did not favor. She threw basically a 3.5 inch group string. So we're definitely going to stay away from those. Going to concentrate on tightening up that 150 grain group. Okay, what I had found in the area were two high spots running up here as far as by this front swivel stud. Some would call that forward pressure. Well, what it was uneven on either side. So we were not having equal bearing pressure. And since this is a wood stock, any change of climate is basically going to make this wood expand or contract. So what we wanted to do is give a true free float appearance. So, and then we resealed it. And that way, if we do have any minor swelling, we're still going to remain our free float. That way our barrel harmonics are unaffected. We run back here as far as to the recoil lug area. Equal bearing as far as in the recoil lug. Lockdown, go to the tang. Let me see if I can zoom in there. As you can see, equal bearing also in the tang area. We did have some black witness marks contact area running up here. I ended up truing those down. Contact area running here and also in the bolt lockdown position. Okay, I apologize about the blurriness here, but muzzle brake has been removed, and this should happen once a year, once a season, or if you're doing any great deal of shooting. You should pull your muzzle brake, clean up your threads. You can see a little rust buildup, carbon buildup, and the longer it goes, basically what can happen is you can actually freeze your muzzle brake on from a carbon buildup. So to avoid that, I do recommend, at least seasonally, clean your threads, clean the front of your muzzle and such up. What I'm seeing here is it seems as a standard factory style crown on here, nothing magical. What we're going to do, we're going to chuck it up on the lathe, and the technique that we utilize, we actually go off the center of the barrel opposed to jigging up the barrel itself. So we'll go from the chamber and then center on the crown, and I'll actually use a floating crown reamer. And what that does, that allows, if there's anything that is non-concentric, it'll automatically go true with the bore. So we'll get a true crown. I'm going to run a 60-degree crown on here. I'll do a 90-degree flush cut just to true everything up. I'll go in there with a 60, lightly touch it up, kiss it, clean it up. We're going to get this muzzle brake on and get her back out on the bench and see how she performs. All right, here we are. We just finished up our 3-shot test with 180 grain. Remington core lock. As you can see, great improvement from a 3.5 inch group all the way down to an 1.5 inch, and that was simply because we did a recrown, free float, and we properly torqued down the barreled action. Now we move over here to the 150 grain. Oh, I choked that third shot. My first two shots were sitting there printing at 1/2 inch, and it is what it is. I pulled the third shot. I don't know. But we try and run true to life here as far as down on range 3. It is what it is. But yeah, she was tightening right up there, and I pulled the third shot. But that's how we are. And as you can see, there is a dramatic difference what can happen when you do some minor tuning to your rifle. Again, thanks for joining us down on range 3, and we'll see you next episode.